Greetings students and welcome to one of my favorite videos, How Not to Fail My Class. So you will notice we have floating head me in the corner and I have Professor Blackboard up. Sorry it doesn't look like your blackboard, just the easiest way to do this. First we're going to learn how to properly navigate the class because honestly that's the easiest way to keep up with everything and what you need to do. And then we'll kind of walk through all this stuff. So we're going to look at a really typical week here in the class. It's not going to be this week because this week isn't typical. We're going to look at next week's class so that you guys can get an idea as to what this will normally look like and what to expect when you get here. So we're going to look at week 2 here, psychological research. So there's the learning module and you just go ahead and open that up. Always start with your weekly overview, objectives, and to do. Always, always, always. You will notice there is always a floating head video of me, oh hi me, right here to walk you through everything that's going on that week. We also have our learning objectives, and very important is our to-do list down here. Do you see the to-do list down here? This tells you everything you need to do this week. It tells you what you need to turn in, what you need to read, what you need to watch. This is a very important list, guys, very important. So make sure you're keeping track of that and as you're doing all of the things on the list, because sometimes you do have more work for certain weeks. Okay, so let's take a look at all of these just to see what they're going to look like. So you're always going to have reading to do. You're always going to have a quiz right after your reading. That's how I recommend that you do that. We're always going to have keywords and concepts videos after that, right? And then we're always going to have whatever we're learning that week, whatever material we're using that week, usually a documentary. I'll have some sort of introduction to that. You'll go ahead and watch it. Then usually there's a discussion board post after that. And then if there's anything else going on that week, it's due after that. So, you know, for this week, after you submit your discussion board post, you would watch the overview video for your research question and hypothesis, and then turn in your research question and hypothesis. So let's go back out and look at this in the folder. Everything's in the Psychological Research Week folder. You just open the folder up, and here's everything. So here's your second textbook chapter, here's your quiz, here's the 4 keywords and concepts videos, here's the introduction to our documentary, here's the documentary itself, then we have our discussion board. Then for this week, we have an extra assignment. So for this week, you'll be watching the intro to research question hypothesis, and then you'll go ahead and turn that in. Some weeks, this is going to be an exam. You're going to want to do that after you do the stuff up here, because the stuff up here is going to be on the exam. Yeah, I would really love to not do it this way, but when you try to pack regular semesters into 11 weeks, this is kind of what happens. So just keep an eye on those lists, and that'll be a really good way to keep track of what's going on. The entire course schedule is in your syllabus and in the week 0 stuff, so if you want to refer to that, absolutely. When we have exams, especially for the first exam, I will tell you how to study. There will be a link for that, so I would highly recommend you watch that. So that's the big thing. Make sure your things are on time. Make sure you're turning everything in, right? You don't want anything to get missed. Make sure you're reading through those to-do lists. And then 2 more really important pieces of information, and I'll let you go. One is to make sure that you're communicating with me if you're having a problem, guys. I can't know if you're having a problem if you don't tell me. I'm not psychic. I have no idea what is going on in your world unless you tell me what is going on in your world. So please make sure that you let me know what's going on. If you're having problems, if you have questions, I am here for you. So that is very important. And then the other thing I want to just say in this video, guys, sometimes late work is better than no work. I don't know who told your generation that a due date meant it had to be due on that date, or otherwise you couldn't turn it in. But that's not what it means. You can turn things in early. You can turn things in late. You will lose points, but sometimes that's better than getting no points. So for every 3 days something is late, I take off 1 letter grade. But again, it can really save your grade if you missed a deadline. Go ahead and turn it in anyway. That way you're still getting some credit for the assignment. All right. So that's the overview of how not to fail my class. Follow instructions, follow the lists, follow the videos, and you will be just fine, I promise. All right, I'll see you in the next video.